Hello everyone. Phoenix61 here with your World of Warships Legends shenanigans for the day, and shenanigans is absolutely what we have. We are playing the Michelangelo. This thing is absolutely busted and cracked AF. It's just like I felt like this ship was a very strong ship before. Part of it is, right, it's playstyle and preference. It's something that I like. It's something that I do well with. We've got a good build with it. We've got a good commander for it. All the sort of pieces all the puzzle pieces fell into place for me personally with this ship. So that's like part of it too. Like, if you don't like this kind of style of play, then it's, might not be your cup of jam. But for me, it felt overpowered before. I'm going through the build here, but now with the Azure Lane Wave 7 Commander, it just feels dirty. It does feel dirty sometimes. But yeah, so we're using concealment here. There is the new mod available, chromium plated barrels for main battery dispersion. In most cases, I don't think that's worth it. I think I would take the concealment and incoming fire dispersion over that for vast majority of my ships. Then we are using, of course, it's a full secondary battery build, and I am using epic and legendary boost mods on here, right? So if you didn't know that, fourth slot, you can always upgrade whatever mod you've picked by pushing X and spending steel. Michelangelo does have an option for SAP main battery rounds. I was using that for quite a long time. It does make your reload worse, right? And so that's kind of what tipped me over the scales to take it off and use, either AP or HE shells versus AP and SAP shells. The SAP main battery, right, it really does, it wrecks, especially light cruisers and destroyers, but I think I like the HE shells better. So now previously, right, we now have, Azure Lane Vittoria Veneto, right? But previously you would use this guy. I have a Michelangelo Commander Geist on here, right? I was playing Michelangelo Commander in my Michelangelo, but you would use Paolo de Revel before, right? And so if you don't have the new, if you don't have the Azure Lane Commander, absolutely, this still works quite well, actually, in my opinion, right? And that's what we're using for inspirations, Franz von Hipper. One thing you're missing out on here, though, is this base trait for de Revel is battleship specific, so there's, that's kind of a wasted perk. But everything else kind of along the way is still valuable. And I'll show you the other, there's kind of two other key differences here. And then you would use either Fight Fire with Fire or Will to Rebuild. Running with Scissors is specific for battleships again, and we're a cruiser, right? So you have to just kind of remember, you're using a battleship commander on a cruiser, make sure you're not picking things that say battleship. But so now we have Azure Lane Vittoria Veneto, and her base trait is, specific to SAP secondary battery shells, which is what we got on this thing. So that's a vast improvement over the completely useless base trait for Paolo de Revel. And then I'm using the same inspirations. Franz von Hipper is kind of your must for secondary builds. If you don't have Haruna, there's a couple of free-to-play folks out there that would be fine, right? I think there's a secondary battery reload, right? I wouldn't use Brawler because one of those perks is Battleship, but so Porcupine here. Properly Meticulous is in the third row. This is what's also different from de Revel. And then so now you can pick something on the fourth row here, and she has this unique perk Banner of Splendor, which gives you an extra smoke generator charge and makes your deployment time longer. And since this is a rolling smoke, deployment time is actually a big deal. The other perk is battleship specific, so we just missed out on that one, but there's still valuable to me. And then you could go Master Mechanic here and get 2 extra heals, right? So it's up to you. I was kind of enjoying the extra smoke screen for if I had a long game, having that extra concealment and just being able to damage farm was worth it. And then she's also got secondary interest, which gives us more secondary targeting charges and makes the secondary battery better and gives you a better main battery reload, right? So we're using that, right? So and I think I played 15 games with this the other day, with this build, right? We didn't do this good on live stream by no means, but we've got, let's count the wins here. 3, 4, that's a different ship. There's a loss there. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, That's a different ship that on his account. 11, 12, 13. Is that right? And I think there were, for defeats, there was 2 defeats within Michelangelo. So I was playing Vittorio Veneto, right, the battleship too. But I was just like, what, for 2 losses and 13 wins, right? We did not do that good on live stream the other night. But still, I was like, this just feels dirty. And this poor Alaska here, so we'll go into some gameplay. I have a few games to kind of showcase here, but I don't know. He is up a little far for an Alaska, right, even as a cruiser. He's got 9-kilometer range radar, and so I am trying to stop before I get within that 9 kilometers here. And our secondaries are, what, like 10.4 kilometer range. So we drop the smoke so that we don't get spotted, but then, of course, we were the only ones spotting him there. So I'm looking around like, wait, who else can spot this guy? But yeah, we do inconveniently slip into the 9-kilometer range of his radar, but he's backing up, and or it must have ended there too. And so he gets spotted again, and just the meltiness of these secondaries, he's just going down. He's just, just every single hit is just brutal. It felt dirty before, but now it's just not. Now it's straight 40,000 damage in a minute or two. Right? I'm gonna fast forward a couple of boring parts on some of these games, so if the speed jumps here, that's what's happening here. But yeah, just taking my time here, making sure to get the zone cap on this game, and then what I want to do is close the gap on this Yamato a little bit without getting spotted. So we'll keep this island out in front of us. Between us and him, and then nothing else has line of sight on us, right? So we'll shoot HE shells to try and trigger fires, and then I'll just keep moving up, right? We're at full throttle here. It just seems it's gonna seem slow when I go from fast forward back to normal speed. But yeah, I'm just trying to close the gap so we can get back within range of secondaries. Also, don't mind wasting a little bit of time here to wait for the my next smoke generator charge to be ready too. So we'll just kind of, we'll just perfect, right? So we'll just keep moving up. We're getting close to secondaries being able to hit him. Like I said, I think it's like 10.3 or 10.4 for the range with this build on those. He does take out our Heisen. Not too big of a deal. And once I see we'll take the main battery shot. We are within our normal spotting range, and then I'm just going to cut in. And then once we see the secondaries start to fire, I'll trigger the secondary battery booster here. And then we're just going to watch our angling. Yamato can still do pretty epic amounts of damage to us, even when we're kind of trying to bow tank like this, right? So we'll try and tease a little bit of angle, and then we'll cut in as he fires at us, and we take almost nothing there. And then smoke's going to be ready here, right? So he did just fire, so I waited a few seconds, right? I'm like, he's reloading, doesn't matter, right? I don't need the smoke just yet. But we'll fire the mains. And then I give it another second or two, and then we're going to trigger the rolling smoke here. But yeah, we're just melting him away now too, right? We've got help from a cruiser and a battleship on this side, so he really is getting picked on. But yeah, he's not going to last too much longer. So this will be kill number 2 on this game. If we get it. A lot of people are shooting up there. There she goes. And then I know I've got a destroyer up here. We're gonna try and push up, right? Like one of the nice things about these rolling smokes is you can really catch destroyers off guard. If you know they're close and you know kind of the general direction that they're at, you can use this rolling smoke and just push. And then once that smoke is over with, you pop out and the secondaries just wreck. I think it's a Kaba, right? He does have quite a few torpedoes that are like short range, but we're going to be close enough where he's going to be able to get torpedoes on him, right? So the moment we spot him, we'll try and have to do some maneuvering to dodge, because yeah, but there he is. So he's not going to last very long. We're going to get the main guns on him, and then I'm going to start turning back in towards him with anticipation of those torpedoes, but he had actually already fired them. He saw us coming before in the smoke screen. Somebody was paying attention to the mini map, right? But yeah, he's not having a good time with the secondary, so I'm already paying attention to the Des Moines over here and just letting the ship do the work for me. So Kaba goes down for kill number 3. We've got a Des Moines here and a Hector coming around the corner here as well. So I'm trying to split my angling between the two of these guys. Hector's probably a little bit less of a threat, but he's got lots and lots of torpedoes would be the problem with Hector here. So we'll give him a little bit more angle. Yeah, he's going to be shooting HE. There goes Des Moines from our secondaries. I did switch to AP on Hector, right? If you've got the angle, you can really wreck him. See, we did get a couple of pens and a Citadel there, but then we also got some bounces as well. So we'll turn, yeah, he does the smart thing, and he switches to AP himself as we turn broadside to him. So he's getting little bits of chunks of damage on us. And here's where I got it right. He kind of was just maybe timing my reload or what, but he started turning back in, which was the right call, because if he would have kept giving us that much angle, we would have gotten the kill on him, but there's just too much going on. So a stomp game there. That's kind of one of those ones where, right, where you get those early couple of kills on your flank, and then you can just go and push to the other sides, and just it's just not even, right, you get that game momentum there. Sometimes, right, I know people like to gripe and complain that, like, you know, all these battles are just one way or the other, right? Sometimes it's not always a bad player. It's not always bad players. Sometimes it's just that momentum that you get there. But anyway, so another Hector here. He will be the first one for us to pick on this game, right? And I'm not firing the mains here because, right, he's within my smoke firing penalty, right? So I hold off firing the main guns a little bit here just to try and utilize my concealment, because my other cruiser was keeping him spotted for a little bit there. But yeah, we're zigging and zagging. We know Hector's got lots and lots of torpedoes, right? So we're being careful about that. We've got a Chapiev up here as well, who's nice and angled for us. So if I can get a broadside shot with my AP shells on him, I'm going to take it, but we'll obviously get spotted, right? So we'll just keep an eye out for him. My destroyer already capped the alpha zone. We did lose, right? We lost a destroyer, and they've lost a cruiser already here in this game. Well, a couple of these are more competitive, right? I think these next games a little bit more competitive here. This one here, right, I was like, I pushed maybe a little too hard, but it works out. So you'll just have to watch these events unfold here. Yeah. Some of these, like, right, like, especially light cruisers like that, right, that don't have that much armor, they're just not going to have a great time with these, with the secondaries on this thing. It just feels dirty. Chapiev's in range as well. And then we've got contestant number 3, a Rochester coming around the corner, right? So I'm going to try and, we need to watch our angling, especially with the Rochester here too. So I'm trying to split it between everybody. He does fire at us. He is broadside too, so I take the AP shell shots and get all over pen, so I was kind of annoyed with that, but I probably could have aimed a little bit lower. D7P is telling me I'm being too aggressive, which is probably true, telling me to get back, which is probably true. This is one of those situations where, like, it works out for me this time, so I put it on YouTube, but this, right, results may vary. Right. I see more torpedoes come by from the Hector, so I'm like, you know what, let's damage con the fire. He's kiting away, so we're not going to be able to hit him with torpedoes. We did send some towards the Rochester, though, but missed. But he doesn't have too much health left himself, and he's shooting HE at us, right? So since he was getting low, I was like, prioritize the secondaries on him, but it was too late. The bullets were already in the air. We'll take the mains at Hector. That's pretty decent for someone kiting like that. So down he goes. Right, they're just everybody's just crumbling over. I'm like, alright, Nottingham's nice and broadside over here on this side. So this will be kill number 3 probably. And within secondary battery range. So he's getting lit up there. Down he goes, devastating strike there. Chapiev still in range of secondary, so we'll just keep pushing up on him. So there's 3 kills for this game, 100,000 damage. The amount of the amount of damage we've taken and the amount of ships we've killed have been worth the push. There it goes down too. There goes Chapiev. That's like 4 in a row. One more for a Kraken here. So we've got two destroyers, right, that are probably up here where we're located, right? so we know we're the closest ship to at least one of these guys. We do have rolling smoke still, right? So if I get spotted here, I can always push that, and then right. So I know I'm getting close, so I'm gonna push it, and then we'll just push up into the direction that we think they're at, right? So I think Warner, the problem's gonna be here, and this is gonna be one of your weaknesses with this ship, right? Is one of these? I think one of these destroyers is sonar destroyer. So right, so ships with sonar and radar when you're doing this can really ruin your plans here too. And I was considering taking the shot at the Marceau, but I was also like, I might be within my smoke firing penalty for whatever destroyers are up here. So I decided not to take the shot with the mains at the Marceau. And yeah, so the Schomburg up here would have picked me up with when I fired the main guns, because the smoke firing penalty on the ship's like I think 7.4 with the build that we have. So they would have spotted us, right? So I remain undetected. But I'm going to take, we're going to send some torps through there where the Marceau was, right? He's almost got that zone kept, so I kind of thought maybe he would come through that crack. And then, yeah, I think Schomburg is probably what's spotting us with sonar. But timing on this is actually okay, because my smoke screen actually just ran out. And then he's between, right, there's that little island between us and them. So I'm just going to use that for cover, actually, right? So we'll use that for cover from torpedoes. Same with Liu Yang here. I'll send starboard side torps through there, see if we can get lucky on him. But yeah, we're gonna use this island here as cover. And right, you have there's our Kraken, right? We'll use this island as cover, and then from torpedoes, and just keep pushing up on him, right? So if we can get, if he's got he didn't have very much health left, right? So what was this, the Liu Yang? So like if he sticks his nose out, the secondaries are going to get him, right? Also at this point, I'm like, we probably have the game won, right? We've got the lead on ships here too. But I'll just park it right here. I was kind of hoping he was maybe close enough to the island where we would pick him up, right? So there's always the guaranteed 2-kilometer range detection range. But he did see sort of our path, right? He had us spotted before, so I slowed down here just in case he moved to the other side out in front of me and sent torpedoes this way. But his attention got diverted elsewhere. We do get spotted again here. I'm assuming it's the Marceau moving around this direction that I'm looking, but then the Amalfi pops up here too. So we'll trip the secondary booster. I prioritize the Marceau, right? I'd rather get rid of the destroyer first. But when you prioritize a target, right, it basically just tells your secondaries to shoot that ship first if it can, right? And all of the secondaries kind of work individually, right? So since we had Amalfi on the other side of the ship, right, the starboard side secondary is still going to go after the Amalfi anyway, right? So it just tells, right, if my gun can hit that ship, please shoot that ship, right? So I'll fast forward a tiny bit here because the Amalfi drops his rolling smoke. Wasn't quite able to get main guns on the Marceau. He ends up just kiting away, trying to stay alive. I switched to the AP shells with the anticipation of this Amalfi coming out around this corner broadside. And we were correct here. I kind of rushed this shot, I think, right? I probably could have aimed a little bit lower, but right, the main battery accuracy is not the greatest. We did get one penetration, but a lot of overpens there. And I think some still hit the water, even though we aimed too high, right? So we'll get him with the secondaries. Oh, we'll have a chance for the mains here too. Let's see what, secondaries gets him. So that's our 6-pack there with 178,000 damage. Right, we were trying on, I feel like I can get to 300k in this, with this build under the right circumstances. And we were trying to do it on live stream, but we didn't quite get there, right? we had a couple of games where we were close to the 200k, but just wasn't quite working out for us on live stream. So we'll fast forward the rest of this game because, Marceau decides that kiting away. Right, I'm like, if I'm in his situation, I'm turning around and just ending it. I'm getting as many shots as I can and ending the game to go on to the next one, right? But you do you. So we've got, radar cruiser up there, picking him up with radar, so they finish him off pretty quick with that. And then I'm not even going to be able to get, close enough to actually be able to do anything, right? So we'll take a quick, we're taking a peek at the leaderboards on each of these. And then we'll jump into the next game. Right, top spot there, right? Only 2,500 XP, right? It's kind of tough to earn. Right, secondary battery hits don't get you that much XP, I think is kind of the issue there. Got an Atlantico coming around the corner here. We'll take the main battery shot. He wasn't looking this way, but I'm going to drop the smoke because he's got epic secondaries as well. We'll send Torps. And then as we get closer, right, we just got to keep in mind our smoke firing penalty. So as long as somebody's spotting something for us, we can just let the secondaries do their work and hold off on firing the main gun so that we don't get spotted, right? So we can just stay, you know, silent running here, right? Send some more torpedoes towards him. And we'll push up into the zone. We got another 12 seconds left on the rolling smoke here. If we get a torpedo hit, we might be able to actually finish him off here. Somebody hit him with a torpedo, please. But yeah, he keeps pushing up into us, but it's just not going to work out for him. We're going to get that one there. So we're about to get spotted anyway, so I fired the mains there. Right, the rolling smoke's running out. Lefauder, I got to keep an eye on him. We got to make sure we're not broadside to him. I know we've got a destroyer in this zone as well, and I actually can see his smoke screen on the other side of this island, right off to the left of the screen. So, and then we do get picked up. Radar is probably this Buffalo, but he doesn't have a shot on us, right? But this gives the destroyer the information of like where we are, right? So I need to do some maneuvering, and I'm gonna keep pushing up into him, right? I think he's trying to commit to the zone because he's got it almost tapped, right? But we'll prioritize the secondaries on him if we can here. And then, actually, they're the only thing that's going to shoot at him anyway. He's so close. We're trying to get main batteries on him too, and then I'm going to start turning back in towards him because we know he has shot torpedoes towards us. But yeah, so here they come. We're going to take at least one or two of these. Oh wait, I mean, never mind. That's the dumbest luck there. I mean, we started turning towards them, like, because we knew they were coming, but I was surprised I didn't take at least one of those, right? So then this poor Buffalo is just getting melted by the secondaries on the rear starboard side of the ship. We're going to get spotted by this Lefauder, but again, luckily he's paying attention to someone else because, well, we were behind the island here. Probably could have used AP on him here, but we had the HE loaded for the destroyer. I do make the switch here, and we do trip a fire, which is good for us. That way, right, if we... And shoot, an HE hit me? And then the cruiser's farming us back there, too. Right, but he's making a turn broadside, so I'm like, alright, well, we'll send the torps. And then I'm looking at what else I can shoot with the mains here, too. I'm trying to do double duty. There was a cruiser way out to our starboard side. It's kind of off, kind of taking himself out of play. But we can give up a little bit of angle to the Bayard and try and get these AP main battery shots out on him. We do get 2 torpedo hits on the Lefauder, and then he's starting to turn towards the land there, so I sent the next rack of torps a little short. Got a Pizarski picking on us in the background there too. We're a little bit close, right? When you get too close to some of these battleships, the secondaries are hitting the hull and they're not penetrating, right? But we do get a couple of hits there, which finishes him off for kill number 3. We've got a Wichita that we can probably shoot with the mains. I'm going to hold off on... actually, no, we do fire them. Right, so I was going to say, we could have held off firing them and then waited on the smoke to push up a little bit, but I took the shot. We dropped the smoke. Bayard's going to come around the corner, probably spot us with like sonar or radar or something, right? Yep, there's the sonar. So we're spotted regardless, so I might as well shoot the guns. So we finish him off for kill number 4. I'm slamming on the brakes now here, right? So what my initial plan was, right, I wanted to try and move up through the zone enough so that we could get close enough to this Wichita that secondaries would be able to hit him. But that Bayard kind of ruined, right? We had to take care of him first. Kind of ruined our plan. He is slowing down. But yeah, I've got it in reverse, so we'll try and back up just a little bit more. He's getting close. He's getting close. I think we're 10.4. See if the guns start shooting here now. There they go. So we'll trip the secondary booster. And then, right, he's paying attention to the ship in front of him. So he's given us plenty of angle to be able to shoot him, so we get a devastating strike with the mains there for our Kraken. There's still work to do. If you notice, we've been getting our butts kicked this entire game. Still work to do on this one. 3 more ships. I know one of them is the Pizarski. I'm kind of not worried about him, but the last 2 end up being quite healthy, and I think one is the new Azurlane a gear, and the other one's like a Shorenhurst, and they're like full on health. So we'll do what we can, so to speak, on this game. But just so Pizarski, right? He's just not gonna stand a chance, really, to be honest. And he's going to be the one that's pushing up, right? He would probably need to. I don't know. I think he does it right here. But he needs to, right? And we're the last one. You know, we lost our other cruiser. He needs to like sneak up around these corners and get torpedoes off on us. And so as we come around this corner, right, he can't give up any more angling. He knows that would take him out. We fire the main guns there, but the secondaries are just melting him like crazy. So he tries to smoke, but he's also, right, he has smoke firing penalty to deal with as well. So it's not, the smoke's completely useless to him because he was shooting his guns at us, right? So he'll actually stay detected, and then we'll go unspotted because we stopped firing our main guns. And so, right, we get the easy kill for the 6-pack there. We'll switch to HE for the Agir. Right, and he is right, he's at 3/4 health. I've used all my heals, right, and then Shorenhurst also very, very healthy, right, at like 3/4 to, 2/3 health. So like, this is gonna be tough. We got 17 seconds, right, I'll trip the secondary booster right away here, but 12 more seconds on the smoke. I'm trying to fire spam Shorenhurst. He's not quite in range of torps yet. And you could argue, right, try and wait a little bit more on these torps. I don't know. I think this was doable, and spoiler alert, I don't do it right. But right, I'm trying to split my angling so no one's got a good AP shot on us. And then I had stopped firing the guns. We'll trip the smoke, and we'll go undetected here. I think, right, I'm like, maybe the Agir doesn't have sonar going, but I think he's using target acquisition because we get spotted here and we don't have him spotted, right? So he's using target acquisition instead of concealment, and that's what kind of ruined my life just now. So he had spotted us through the smoke screen at 3 kilometers versus the guaranteed detection for us is the 2 kilometers, and so he just got an epic AP shell hit on us there. But yeah, I was like, oh man, if it wasn't for that, we might have stood a chance here. But he hit us with torpedoes too, right? So, but what, over 200,000 damage on that game? He was using Rigger Wall too, so he wasn't using probably wasn't doing a secondary battery build for that ship, which is probably still good too. But yeah, 217,000 damage, 6 kills. We lose that one. Our XP score, 1900 there, is pretty good for being on the losing team, right? So when you're on the winning team, you get that like 1.5x multiplier, right? So that would have put us, 3,000-ish range, right? So, all right, next game. This was just the dirty that we did the other day. So Azuma is right with somebody else is spotting him. He's actually outside of our smoke firing penalty range, right? So we can fire the main guns. I'm not quite sure. That might have been torpedoes from the destroyer, but yeah, I think we end up with the destroyer over on this flank too. But yeah, Azuma's getting melted by the secondaries. So this poor soul over here is just not like, just the damage, like 1,800 for like some of those hits. 4,700. All right, Chorberg and a battleship over here, so we're going to turn away from these guys. We need to watch our angling here. Chorberg's about to get within secondary range. Yeah, 10.3 is what we've got it at, right? And so Azuma's gone, right? Azuma would be a good shit, right? If he got, right, he's got good AP shells on that thing. If we gave up angling to Azuma, he could take us out. Trigger the fire on Chorberg. He's continuing to move up, so I can move up a little bit here too, but he goes undetected. No one else had line of sight on him. I think the same thing's going to happen with this Amagi here too. This was where too I was kind of thinking that their destroyer might be over here around this corner as well. But I'm gonna get on the other side of this island. Right, I'm not gonna turn into him just yet here. But I want to pick up the spot because I know he was still close enough for secondaries, right? So I'm just gonna get right. We'll pick up the spot. Yeah. So there's torpedoes. I don't know. Maybe there was a what's that? That battleship, is that the Magi? Does that have the long range torpedoes maybe too? I don't remember. But regardless, their destroyer still hasn't been spotted. So I'm assuming he might be over here with these guys. So cruiser's gonna go down, so I didn't even bother aiming the main guns at him. And we trigger double fire there. And looks like he's letting it burn. Nope, he puts it out just now. So yeah, so definitely a destroyer over here. We got all sorts of torpedoes. So just for the sheer fact that that destroyer is over in the same area, and the fact that we're angling away from the battleship is making these torpedoes easy to dodge for us. So another fire on Magi, so he's got to let that one burn. Now we've got smokescreen. He did just fire, but this is where I'm going to try and see if we can make this turn here and catch this destroyer off guard. He does get a couple of hits with torps on us, and they do sting just a little bit there. And then, right, so we've got like two choices here, right? We can, if we fire the main guns, if that destroyer is close enough, we potentially would get spotted. So I held off firing the main guns. I'm going to use the time we've got here to try and close this gap on this Magi. He's on fire too anyway, so we're proxying our like our epic reload on the secondaries. And then now he's going to be in range. Only a few seconds left on the smoke screen, so we're about to get spotted here. So I'm hoping to catch the destroyer off guard here if he wasn't paying attention, right? But yeah, we're being aggressive here at this point because we've got a pretty significant ship count lead. And then this Amagi's pretty low on health too. So, and since we were in our smoke, he wasn't looking this way, so I was able to give up some angling to try and get those main batteries off. We didn't do any, we got busted shells though. Musashi, we definitely need to worry about him. So we're ducking behind the island from him, so we're just keeping an eye on where he is, paying attention to the minimap. So he does get a few hits on us there, but we were angled perfectly. And we should be able to take Magi on. Yeah, we get an assist there. Delaware manages to finish him. So see how we're spotted here? That might have been that battleship out there. I think it's a Minnesota. It might have been him because we had fired the mains before. But I was kind of thinking, right, this destroyer's got to be close still. So yeah, there he is. He's heading for our base. The carrier just picked him up on the minimap. So this Musashi, I noticed, had just fired. So I'm going to come out around the corner here and see if we can get torpedoes off. We'll fire the main guns. I switched to the AP rounds here. We'll send the torps. Because if he stays angled like this, AP is going to work great, especially at this closer range. We do need to be careful with this Minnesota, though. So Minnesota is firing HE at us, so we're kind of actually a little bit safe. But yeah, if you've got the gap closed here, AP can do its wonders on Musashi's and Yamato's. So, and then right, Minnesota was firing HE. I'm just gonna angle away from him as quick as I can here, just in case he thought about switching. But yeah, we're just doing the secondaries are just really going to work on him here. Yeah, he's still firing HE at us. Secondary interest, right? We'll trip the booster. Right, so we actually almost got through all of these boosters here this game. And then looks like he's looking at somebody else, so I slow down a little bit here. Try and keep these the secondaries engaged for a little bit longer as we go undetected. But if we need it, we've still got a smoke screen too. Yeah, airplanes are the only thing spotting us right now, so we don't need to worry about getting hit. And then right for this game, I was a little bit nervous about the destroyer in our zone, but he actually leaves the zone to go and try and rush our aircraft carrier. But then I was also like looking at the minimap, and we've got 4 players on our team in their base. So right, it's just another game where just momentum just crushed them. But yeah, we're, what, 210,000 damage here now, but we've only got 2 kills. So yeah, it seems to go either one way or the other. Either I get a lot of kills or a lot of damage, and I can't seem to stack both of those things into one game. But yeah, we win with the base capture there. We entertained our entire flank on this side for the entirety of the game while the rest of the team went and capped the base. And then we did get top spot on the leaderboard there again. Right, so that game we won. And I only got 1900, whereas the last game was like, right, we lost and we were almost at that score. But that's going to be our video for the day. As a long one, so if you're still hanging out with me, I appreciate it. Make sure to like and subscribe. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Drop a comment in the comments section to appease the algorithm overlords. You may have an option to hype the video down below as well. If you're watching it within the first few days of release, sometimes you can do that. That is actually super, super helpful for small channels like myself. Special thanks to channel members. These are the guys helping support me. If you're interested in that, check out the member section on my YouTube page. Otherwise, I try to do Legends videos every day. So if you are following, we should see you guys again tomorrow. Thanks.